Hey everyone, my name is Riley and this video is a full HostGator review. In this video, we will be taking a deep dive into HostGator, taking a look at the pricing, the features, the pros and cons, and also comparing this to some of the other hosting providers out there to not only figure out if HostGator is actually good, but is it the best hosting provider that money can buy? And if not, which of these do I recommend instead? I will leave links to all of the hosting providers mentioned in the description of this video. Of course, there are affiliate links, so if you do purchase your hosting through any of these links, I will earn a small commission at no extra cost to you. Overall, these commissions just keep the lights on here at the channel, but they do not affect the review in any way, as we just look at the facts and the features. Now, to start out with the pros, a massive pro for HostGator is going to be the price. So we can see right here for the regular web hosting, we have the Hatchling plan at $2.75 per month, the baby plan at $3.50 per month, and the business at $5.25. Now keep in mind that with hosting providers, these pricing plans, and every single hosting provider does this, they give you a massive discount, like 63%, Hostinger 75% off. They give you these massive discounts to actually get you in the door, and you will be able to get these super cheap prices for a year or two, depending on the plan that you go for. And then from there, it's going to renew at the full price. So we will touch more later on the renewal price, but when we are looking at the first 1 to 2 years in particular, HostGator is very cheap. Like this is on a level with Hostinger. We can see very similar pricing right here. And also DreamHost is going to be on a similar pricing plan. These are all a lot cheaper than some of these hosting providers like Bluehost that can cost you from $5.50 to $10, even up to $15 per month. And then Scala Hosting is another provider that is a lot more expensive than HostGator. So the first big pro for HostGator is going to be this initial pricing. Another pro with HostGator is that you get 24/7 phone and live chat support. This is the thing though. With the cheaper plan, the Hatchling plan, you actually don't get phone support. You only get chat support. This is not the biggest issue in the world, which is why this is still in the pro category. Because for me personally, and a lot of people that I know, even if we do have access to phone chat, it's just easier to go down to the live chat and speak to somebody there. It's very rare that you have an issue that is so big that live chat can't help this. So with this, any issues that you have with your hosting, if you struggle to set your hosting up or you are not entirely sure what you are doing, then all of these plans are going to have some form of 24/7 support. Another pro to HostGator is the fact that with your HostGator hosting, you get access to cPanel, and this is how you actually control your hosting. This is cPanel right here, and although it kind of does look like something from the late 90s, it is very good for beginners. The reason for this is because it lays out everything quickly and easily. So if you need to access any of your files, they are all stored here. You have access to your email accounts, so your professional domain that you might want to be setting up. You get access to all of this right here. And then for all of your web builders, which you are probably going to be using with your hosting, so like WordPress, Joomla, these are very easy to install and set up. All we need to do is go to the Softalicious Apps installer, install the app that you would like to use, and then once we have this, we can simply click into that app, go to the login section, and then we can log in right here. So just like that, I am now inside of my WordPress dashboard. Although cPanel is very good, there is actually one panel that I think is better than this, and we will cover this later in the video. But for now, this is a fantastic tool, and although it is not the best, this is still a definite pro for HostGator. The final pro that I am going to mention is the fact that all of these plans right here come with a free domain and also free SSL. So a domain is obviously a professional domain, so you can have your website name.com instead of a bunch of random numbers and letters that you would have without a domain. Secondly is going to be this free SSL, and realistically this shouldn't even have to be a pro because this is absolute baseline minimum that you should get when purchasing hosting. However, some hosting providers like GoDaddy just don't offer this, which is absolutely mind-blowing. If you are unfamiliar with what SSL is, it's absolutely crucial. It's essentially this padlock icon right here that says your connection is secure. If you don't have this, when people try to access your website, they will get left with a message like this, which is not what we need. So the fact that all of these come with free SSL is absolutely fantastic. Now onto the cons, and the first con on this list is going to be the fact that with HostGator, these renewal prices really aren't the cheapest. So although it starts off and it gets us in the door for these super cheap prices, the renewal price isn't actually the best. Now, it's certainly not the worst either. For example, if we compare this to Bluehost, we can see that the renewal price is still going to be cheaper. $11, $17, $22, compared to $12, $22, $27, $29. However, as I say, it's also not the cheapest. HostGator is better for this in my opinion, as the renewal price is still going to be super cheap, especially for these bottom two plans. We are going to be paying $8 and $9 compared to this lowest plan starting out at $11 and the medium plan going to $17. So for this medium plan right here, we compare $17 to just $9. As you can see, the renewal price is not the best. The second con, and this kind of leads on from the first, is the fact that the monthly plan isn't really the cheapest. So if we click in to this HostGator plan right here, we can see that if we pay for 1 to 3 years, the pricing is pretty cheap. But as soon as we go monthly, it gets relatively expensive. As you can see, we get the first month for $13, but then this renews at $25 per month. If we compare this to HostGator, and we go for the middle plan as well, if we want to pay this monthly, we do have to pay a $5 setup fee, but this renews at $14 per month. So we are paying almost half the price right here if we want to go with HostGator. The next one, and in my opinion, this is the biggest con to HostGator. I don't know why they don't just do this. It's going to be daily and weekly backups. You're only going to get any kind of backup with this top business plan. This is terrible in my opinion, especially because the SSD isn't the biggest either. Like on this lowest plan, this is only 10 gigabytes of SSD storage. We should be getting at least absolute minimum weekly backups. But we just don't get this. We have to pay extra. And this is another thing with HostGator that I've seen a lot of reviews for. They are very aggressive on the upsells. So we essentially go through here, plug in the billing information, and then we go through. They are going to give us a bunch of upsells that they will try to sell us on. One of them is going to be the daily or weekly backups with any of these plans. Because as I say, they aren't included with anything aside from business. If we take a look at HostGator, for example, every single one of these plans has at least weekly backups. The lowest plan right here, weekly backups. The second plan, the business, is going to give us daily backups. Same with this top tier. Plus, look at this. Look at the difference in the SSD storage. 100 gigabytes on this lowest plan, and then 200 for these more premium plans. They are literally giving us like 10 times more storage and daily and weekly backups. So really for HostGator, this is the biggest flaw in my opinion. I just can't understand for the life of me why we aren't getting any kind of backups when the SSD storage is only 10 gigabytes. The reason that it's so important to have this, I should mention, is because anytime you make changes to your website, and it's not a huge risk, but it's always going to be there, if you install a plugin, if you make changes, something might go wrong, and it might completely destroy your entire website. If we don't have any kind of backups, then you just have to start from scratch. Like if you've saved the website and it's just destroyed, which I've done many, many times, then it's just gone. You have to build the entire thing from scratch. Whereas even with a weekly backup, yeah, you have to go back a week in changes, but it's better than starting from scratch. If we have daily backups, even better, like no issues at all, even if we blow up the entire website. And then the final thing that I will mention in this cons area, although cPanel is still a pro, the HostGator hPanel is still better. You can probably see a little bit of a trend as to which hosting provider I think is the best. But this is hPanel. As you can see straight away, the layout is just so much better. This looks like something from the early 90s. This is something that's fresh and newer. We can go into the hosting plan that we have, And instead of having to click around and going through all of these steps, we literally, on the dashboard, click into Manage, go to Admin Panel, and just like that, this is now going to take me over to my WordPress dashboard. I'll just leave this load up. And as you can see, I am now inside of WordPress. Whereas with cPanel, I have to click into WordPress right here. After I've installed it, it automatically comes installed with HostGator. Then I have to go down here, and then I have to go into WordPress right here. Then I can click on Login, and then it's going to log me in. So it's not the worst, but it's just not as intuitive. Also, hPanel is going to give us a built-in page speed insight, so we can see how fast our page is going to load. And this is very important because the load speed of your page is absolutely crucial so that people don't click off. The way that I use this is if I'm building on my website, eventually this might start dropping. And it's very valuable to see this because at that point, if this gets to like 50, 60, I'll just go ahead and upgrade my hosting. We also have things like tips to improve where it's going to give us security reminders. So basically I can see some of my installed plugins have security vulnerabilities. So I can click in, I can go down and see what the vulnerability issue is. It's basically just telling me I need to update this. So I just go through and update these plugins. hPanel is also going to have a malware scanner right here so that you can essentially just scan your website, see if there is any malware on your site and see if there is anything you need to update, which is something that you also don't get with cPanel. Now, there is a few extra features you get here, but I don't really think it's worth the time spent going into this. Overall though, hPanel is a better panel. So my final thought on HostGator is that HostGator is an absolutely fantastic service. It has cheap pricing to get started. It comes with cPanel, which is very easy for beginners to use. And you also get access to 24/7 customer service. However, when we compare HostGator to Hostinger, which in my opinion is the best hosting provider out there, we can see it really starts to lack. HostGator lacks the backups that we need in order to have a stress-free web building experience. It also doesn't have as much storage. And on top of this, all of these plans come with standard SSD storage, which we are only going to get on the lower plan of Hostinger. As soon as we upgrade, we get MVNE storage, which is essentially a faster version of storage, which is going to help your website load faster. When we take all of this into account, plus the fact that with this middle plan right here, which is the one that I always recommend on most hosting providers, Hostinger works out $10 cheaper if you want to pay for the year, and a lot cheaper if you want to pay this monthly, with Hostinger at $14 per month and HostGator at $24 per month. So overall, HostGator is a fantastic option, but Hostinger is just going to be better and cheaper. So that is my HostGator review. If you did get value from this video, all I ask is that when you sign up to your hosting, you do so using the links in the description. As I say, this channel is supported by affiliate commissions and there are no extra cost to you. Either way, I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, take it easy.